Hey Wargamers, it's Friday, February 5th, and this is what's on the table. Alright, so these have been my primary focus for the week. I've been working on the Vaetier starter set with some add-ons for Tor Gaming's Relics. Just actually released the tutorial for this guy, which is the Vaetier Elf Spawn. He's basically a little tiny bit of like captured soul that they use to combine to remake the different Vaetier. It's kind of a really cool bit of the fluff. So there's 2 of those in the starter set. Also now I've got 4 of these. The tutorial is filmed. I actually filmed a lot of tutorials this week. I just haven't had a chance to edit all of them yet. So this one's, he's very much an ice creature. So there's 3 more of them that still need basing. Also got the Vaetier Evocateur. He's sort of the leader of the group. He's the commander, spellcaster, and kind of looks like he's part tree. So what I really like about working on the Vaetier is that almost every single one of their videos is applicable to completely other gaming systems. Like all the techniques I use for painting him will work really well if you're painting tree folk for basically anything else. If you're doing a wood elves army or anything of that nature, the same techniques will apply. And so that's really kind of helpful. Works well for Circle Ouroboros as well to a point in Hordes. And then the last 2 for that set are the Soul, which are basically fire elementals. There's 2 of them, and I painted them in different techniques. So the first one I didn't film. This one I painted entirely using an airbrush with the exception of the eyes. That was just for me to get some airbrush practice because it's still a pretty new technique for me. You can see you get very nice smooth blends, but the flames don't have a lot of character. I mean, it's just individual color gradations, and they don't pick out the individual flames all that much. It's still a really cool effect, and it got this was a 15-20 minute paint job, so it gets them on the table very quickly. Now here's the second one. I did film this one, and this is done entirely with a brush instead. You can see you get a little more character. The individual thicks of flame have, they stand out against the background more. But the colors lose a little bit of contrast as well, mostly because this was done with a lot of dry brushing. And so the dry brushing picked up a lot of, just went straight to white almost. So there's some things I actually like about the airbrush technique better, because the colors seem more vibrant on it. But I like the way the flames individually look on this one. So I think what I might do, even though I've already filmed this one, is come back to it with just a very light, like a yellow, make a wash from a yellow paint, just to give the flames a little more saturation, a little more color. I also haven't anti-shine varnished this yet. You can see the color I used for the black is actually quite shiny. This one I've also managed to drop once, and I've already broken his wrist, so that's setting right now. And I need to paint over the crack because, well, it cracked. But that's been a busy week. I filmed 4 tutorials over 2 days. So the only thing left for the Vaetier now is I've got 4 of these guys, which are the Qualu, C-W-A-L-U. I'm not sure exactly how we're supposed to pronounce that. They're little, basically shadowy spider hunter fellows. I've got one already painted up. I haven't quite finished this scythe, but the rest of it's done. I painted this one before I read the fluff, at which point I found out that these guys basically literally are living shadows. I love the way this miniature looks, the one I painted right here, but it doesn't necessarily match the fluff of the game. And Tor Gaming was kind of provide all these miniatures for the tutorials, so I sort of feel I should do my best to honor the fluff in that regard. So I'm going to be using this one for sure in my army on the tabletop, but I'm going to paint one much darker for a video. Probably still come up to some very nice highlights, but less of a blue theme and more of a shadowy, inky theme to it. So I've also been working on Archangel Michael for the Prevailers, or the Forsaken for Dark Age. This one is a really fun commission because the commissioner actually gave me a list of miniatures he wanted painted, and basically said pick one that you want to paint, and then go ahead and you've got full artistic license to paint it however you want. And so I picked this guy out of the list of a couple of them. I've just been basically literally painting it however I want, so I've been practicing on things. I went to a painting class last weekend in Montreal hosted by Elizabeth Beckley, and that was really worthwhile. One of the things I learned there was creating warmer shadows on things. So I've actually started using purple instead of a dark blue for the shadows here, and it's very, very subtle. And I might go back in with a little bit of red to make it slightly more interesting. But it does bring a little bit of warmth to the model otherwise. And I've also, I was originally going to go with sort of like a flat white, I decided to go with more of a bone color for all the armor plates. And so it's kind of a bit of a warm white. You can see photos of this miniature as I'm painting it on either Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Wherever you follow me, it's going to be there. But what's left to do here is obviously all the yellow parts are going to be non-metallic metal gold, so there's a lot to do there. And all the gray parts are going to be relatively flat. I don't think I'm going to go non-metallic metal with them. I'm going to treat them as if maybe they're a composite or something to that effect. But they do need some inking to bring out the details because they're just a flat color right now. And obviously they will need some highlights. There's still a lot to go there. And then the sword, the edge of the sword I've painted blue, so I'm going to do a blue power effect on it, but I haven't done that yet. I just worked on the blue cloth last night. And obviously the base. So this one's actually made from found driftwood. I went down to the canal here in Welland and just picked up some saturated logs that were on the water's edge. And I soaked them in a bucket of bleach and water for about a week just to kill off any bacteria and anything that might cause the wood to erode. And that also, while it was soaking, you can start to see the layers of the wood kind of separated out a little bit. That happened in the bucket while it was soaking. So I got this really cool striation effect, and it makes it look a lot like it's actually layers of like sedimentary earth. So I really love how this came out. So this is just one chunk of, it was actually a large, it was probably maybe like a 6-inch round of bark, very thin bark. I want to say it was birch because you can kind of see it's almost got like paperish qualities to it. Anyways, I soaked that, broke it up into smaller pieces. I've got some other pieces as well that weren't the bark, but the bark worked out really well for basing. I've used it on a couple different miniatures now, and I'm really happy with the result I'm getting from that. So that's what I've done in the past week. So what's coming up this week is just editing the videos for these guys, because I've only got one video edited so far, so there's 3 to go. I've still got to finish this piece. I've got probably 4 to 6 hours left to go, maybe a little bit longer. And once I get done that, here's what I'm really excited about. You know, this isn't exciting enough yet. Massive Awesome sent me some new items from their Shattered Earth line. So I've got a bunch of the Cult of the Dragon pieces. So I've got no assembly instructions here at all. They're literally just fresh, new resin casts in Ziploc bags. So I think I've got 6 or 7 models here. This is part of that dragon. Hang on. Yeah, so there's 6 in total, I think. So I've got to figure out how these guys all go together. They look amazing. Like, there's a lot of sharp detail here, but I'm not going to bother trying to take these other Ziploc bags and show you right now. You'll see them when I go to actually start painting them. But this is the one I'm really excited about. This is actually the big dragon. I definitely suggest you go check out Massive Awesome and look at the Shattered Earth line. This is a brand new game. Like, they're still releasing half of the sculpts. A lot of the stuff doesn't have anything more than concept art at the moment. I'm so excited to put this together. It's just a fantastic looking piece, and I can't even see any mold on here. Like, these are I don't want to say they're the first, I don't want to say these are like the first casts off the mold, but they're in the first, you know, couple dozen casts off the mold. So the molds haven't even aged yet. They haven't shrank or expanded or stretched in any way, and the casts just look fantastic. I can't wait to get some paint on those. So aside from that, because, you know, I need more things to do, I do still have my Malifaux Lady J starters that I'm working on. So there's Lady J right there. She's primed and waiting to go when I finish up some other stuff. So this past weekend, I mentioned I was in Quebec at a painting class. I also got my chance to play my first game of Guild Ball, so I've got the starter for the Fisherman lined up and ready to go. So at some point, a week or 2 out yet, I've got from the Fisherman starter set, this is Shark and Siren, I believe. I also have another one, which is either Siren or Angel. I've got the 2 confused, perhaps. I actually started painting and didn't like what I did, so she's already in some industrial purple having her paint stripped off. I only got a few minutes into that model and just didn't like where I was going with it, but I didn't want to cloud the details by painting over it, so I'm starting from scratch again. Aside from all that, I do have one more commission lined up in the pipe. It's actually a 3 model commission, but I'm doing them one at a time. So that's going to be a couple different Horus Heresy pieces. One of them is a White Scars Captain, so that's going to be the first one up and running. I'm probably going to film the process for that, or at least parts of it, because doing white armor is one of those things that it's sort of tricky, especially for newer painters. And so I do want to at least focus on some parts of that miniature, so I may or may not film the process. It is a special character though, and I'm going to give it a lot of small details, and that's harder for me to do on camera. It's very easy for me to paint. The less detail something has, the easier it is to paint on camera, because I'm usually painting at about arm's length, so my face isn't in the camera. So I'm painting kind of like you see this right now. Whereas if I'm doing small details, I tend to get really close in like this, and then with the camera over my shoulder, I end up recording the side of my nose and my chin and my shoulder, and it's harder to get the really tiny details. And I feel that with this Horus Heresy miniature, I'm going to be focusing a lot on those, so it may be harder to capture on film, but I'm going to do my best to try it. Okay, so there's a recap of what I got done last week and what I'm planning to do next week. I hope I get at least a couple more of these Vaetier videos up, but editing is a long process, so I'm not sure if all of them will be out next week or not, or if I'm going to space them out over the rest of the month, but they're definitely coming. I'm also going to be playing some Infinity with Owen on Tuesday night, so I'll have a bat rep probably up either late next week or early the week after. Alright, let me know in the comments below what's on your painting table, and if there's anything specific you'd like help with your painting. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to do something epic. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you liked that one, why don't you check out some battle reports right over here, or check out more epic hobby content right over here. If you really like what I'm doing and want to support my creative efforts, I really urge you to become one of my supporters on Patreon. You can find out more about that right here. Thanks for watching.